Art really does come alive on Thursdays on Wake Up Nigeria, and this time we are going to see through the paintings of Oliver Enwonwu. He's an artist who elevates black culture to challenge racial injustice and systemic racism. That's what we're doing on our art display today. It's great to have you, Oliver. You are welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me.
Now, this is quite a very, very interesting topic which you touch via your art.
Yes.
Why did you decide to toe this part with your talent?
Well, I think it's very important to elevate the black man, especially when you think that, when you remember that many stereotypes of the black man have to do with being exotic. You think about poverty in Africa. You think about the racial injustice that is going on. And I think that the best way, of course, to fight racial injustice is to celebrate our achievements. And I do this through my art, through portraiture. A look at Western art history, you'll observe that anytime black people, let's say, even if they are represented, they're represented in subservient fashion. And so I think that it's important, it's about time that we challenge such stereotypes as exotic, of course, the safari, extremes of poverty, and the 419 syndrome.
You know, just while you were talking, I remembered this medical student who got some acclaim for painting a black fetus. And it made, it went round that, okay, why would I always want to represent the fetus as always white? And, that kind of attention. So so far with...
Even as Jesus is white.
Exactly, even as Jesus and all that. And then you always have to paint the devil. He's always having to be in black and all of that. So far with what you've done, how much of positive impact has your art done or made?
I'm very happy with the impact. Of course, I, along with many African artists today, are challenging the very rudiments of portraiture, or the very foundation of portraiture, when we try as much as possible to depict black personages in celebratory fashion. And I think that in my work, for instance, I direct the gaze back at the viewer. No longer is the gaze averted or lowered, but it's strong, it's confident, and it shows us and depicts us in positive light. It does,
it does. Let's see a bit of some of those works while we discuss on them, because from what I can see, I can feel the strength and the dignity in the black man. That's what I can see through those paintings, quite a number of them. This looks like, is it the same face you painted with different,
Yes, it's an ideal face.
It's the same person,
yes, it's an ideal face. And sometimes there are people that are known to me, sometimes they're different people. And sometimes I have models. And at other times they're important personages.
How do you draw inspiration? Because I know for every artist it comes one way or the other. For you personally,
well, I read
how
a
does
lot.
inspiration come?
I read a lot. I think it's very important for an artist to be aware of environmental stimulus. I think you get inspiration from things around you. For me, because I paint a lot of people, movement, dance, and rhythm, it's important for me to attend festivals, watch dance ceremonies, learn more about my culture. I think it's very important. And I get a lot from reading. And I think that that's saying that if you want to hide anything from a black man, put it in a book. I do not subscribe to that. And I think that it's very important for me to constantly feed my mind. So I draw a lot of inspiration from that.
Wonderful. Now let's talk about your origins as an artist. For people, a number of people might feel that it is not financially viable as a profession. But just before we get into that particular discussion, how did it begin for you? Was it something you had to study professionally? Was it something that some people would say I was born with it, talent and all of that? How was it starting off for you?
I think both, because I was born into a family of artists. My grandfather was a traditional sculptor. My father was or is recognized as one of Africa's pioneer modernist artists. That's Enwonwu. So I'm third in the line of artists.
Of artists?
Yes. My first degree is in biochemistry, then I studied geophysics before going back to study art history.
You went back to study. I like that. It was same for me for mass communication. Is there a fault in the line that will keep on that family legacy?
Is that a fault?
Yeah, you are third in line.
I'm third in line.
So is there a fourth in line who will keep on with that legacy?
Yes.
Hopefully, right?
Yes.
We're
looking to that.
Wonderful,
yes.
Wonderful. So, let's get to the part I mentioned earlier when it talks about the financial viability of art. Is it a profession that can, on its own, cater for for those who practice it?
Absolutely,
as it stands here
absolutely.
in sub-Saharan Africa as it is here now?
Oh, absolutely. I think that many professions have professionals who aren't doing well, and art is not peculiar, contrary to what a lot of people would say. Of course, there are baby lawyers, they're the charge on bail lawyers, they're the glorified electricians, you know, who would probably think the electrical engineers. You know, they've got doctors who are quacks too.
True.
You know, so every profession has its own issues or its own professionals that are not doing so well. And then coming back to art, I think gone are the days of the starving artist. It's just a stereotype. You know, even in the days of old, you had artists like Peter Paul Rubens, who, of course, was a major court painter that painted in the Spanish court. He was also a major diplomat that the king respected. Picasso was a great artist and he was financially stable. You know, Rembrandt was stable until his dying years. You know, so you always had very successful artists. So I think it's just a stereotype. And coming back home to Nigeria, you had the Benin court sculptors, the bronze casters, who were very successful and well-to-do because the Oba, you know, patronized them and they only made art for the king.
About our artworks, you know, that were taken and all of that, how come that we are so insistent on getting the past? What about the present? Can't we recreate or even do better artworks than we had, than the ones the British took us? I'm not saying that we should not try to get back what was taken from us and all of that. But doesn't that tell, I don't know, doesn't that not put us in the right light, considering that we are fighting for, can't we do, we don't hear so much about the present ones.
You cannot, for me, you cannot define your present if you don't look to your past. I think they go hand in hand. So while we've got gifted artists who are doing exceptionally well now, judging by the prices for their works, even on the international art market where they're breaking records, you know, and even being exhibited in August spaces, I think that we shouldn't lose touch of our history, because that is also a very rich part of our heritage. So I support, of course, the call to repatriate Nigerian artworks. Looking
forward now, as an artist, to an upcoming artist, to a young artist, what words would you want to give? How can they traverse this path of being an artist?
Well, I think it's all about reading, exposing their minds. They need to be abreast of what's going on. They need to enrich their minds. They need to, I mean, just as we've spoken of, they need to also understand their history. A lot of our history has been told and lost through oral traditions. So I think it's all about going back to the roots, you know, carving your own identity, you know, forming your own niche in the world and taking your own place and demanding or asking for equity so that you can share in the resources of your land.
Wonderful. Thank you. It was great talking to you. Something I know about artists, a lot of them are appreciated after they've passed and all of that, but hopefully you get your flowers while you are still here.
Absolutely.
Wishing you the best.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's it. I hope you're able to get something from that enlightening discussion when it comes to art and how you can use it to tackle societal issues. And in this case, it has to do with racism, of course, and its other antecedents and all of that. But then, hey, come on, let's head over. We have Samurai Jill in the kitchen. And what's up, MM? What's happening there?